Hey guys, ho ho ho, Merry Bloody Christmas, this is Afro Blue. Now, as we all know, Christmas is the season of giving, and of course if people are giving things, then someone else must be receiving things. Now there's a gift I've had, and I've been sitting on for quite some time that I've promised to give my opinions on. It's one of those gifts where I am very, very grateful to have received it. I was very much looking forward to getting to try it out. And then when you do try it out, it's just not quite what you were expecting. Without any further ado, let's go straight into the game itself, and as you've probably guessed if you're a regular visitor to my channel, that game is Sonic the Hedgehog Triple Trouble.
Unlike previous Game Gear Sonic titles, Triple Trouble is not a port of a Master System Sonic game, meaning it was created with the handheld platform as the definitive and only way to play it. This may have been one of the biggest mistakes the development team made. We already know that, with the technical limitations of both the Master System and Game Gear, Sonic's speed simply has not been on display. However, despite the practice previous games provided, Sonic has never felt more sluggish or unresponsive. I genuinely felt that the Hedgehog was resisting every command I input. What's worse is that there are then gimmicks thrown in which try to make use of classic Sonic tropes, but are reliant on a momentum that simply isn't there. Trying to get the blue blur around a loop is agonizingly painful. In the past, these titles have taken the console specs into consideration and moved the focus away from running and more towards precision platforming. Here they've forgotten their own lessons. It only serves to make the flaws more apparent and shove them into the spotlight. If you've never owned a Game Gear, the amount I've had to magnify the video footage by should tell you that the screen resolution is terrible. You really cannot put much on screen at any one time. This is a major detractor from the gameplay, and works against any good ideas in the level designs and layouts because you can never see what's coming. You literally have to make hundreds of leaps of faith within one playthrough, and enemies can commonly get cheap hits in by being just out of view. There are certain levels which would still be highly frustrating even if you could see more of your surroundings. Certain stages are shaped in ways that provide loops within them. You can spend a good chunk of time believing you're making progress, only to suddenly realize how familiar everything looks. There are also moments that consist solely of what were they thinking? Take this special stage for example. To progress, I seemingly have to go through this gap, but no matter how I proceed, I hit this spring and get catapulted away from my destination. With the mechanics controlling physics and momentum in the truly great Sonic games not being present and accounted for here, there is no way for me to proceed without dropping straight onto this damn spring. Some players never even get past the game's first boss due to not only poor mechanics, but also poor communication of those mechanics. In the second phase of the fight, you have to hit a spring to reach the boss for each individual hit. However, if you don't press A in mid-air to curl into a ball, you'll take a hit instead. You'll also find that you're in this attack position for quite a short time too. At no point prior to facing this boss does the game force you to practice or learn this technique, so players can, and oftentimes do, go into this encounter only to meet a frustrating end. Later bosses don't fare much better, with most being very simple and therefore boring to throw down against. There is a glimpse of light in here though. Sadly not enough to redeem the title, but nonetheless it would be cruel not to congratulate the team for trying a few new things. The snowboard section from Sonic 3's Ice Cap Zone gets expanded on as the snowboard becomes a regular pickup. Sonic bobs on the surface of water as though he's a throwing stone before he sinks. And once you're in the water, you'll spend a lot of time travelling inside a giant bubble. These are all nice touches and show some creativity, but unfortunately that's all they are. Nice touches. Graphically, it looks like the art department did everything they could. Most artists would have been used to the Mega Drive's extended color palette and screen size. Going by the year of release, half of them were no doubt gearing up for the next generation that came with the Sega Saturn. The graphics are passable as a result. You can clearly see what everything is, stages all have a unique aesthetic and vibe, but the color schemes are mostly the default and obvious choice for the specified scenarios. There's nothing wrong with the game's presentation, but also nothing that makes it particularly stand out. The main reason I've held off on reviewing this game for as long as I have is because I received it as a gift. I was really excited to have it in my collection, and I was eternally grateful that someone actually went out of their way to buy it for me and send it on over. When I then played the game, it was, to be honest, a disappointment. It's very hard to say, great gift, I'm really, truly thankful, terrible game though, without then feeling like a giant jackass.
All in all, the game just falls short in so many areas. I think it joins the ranks of the other Master System games in that really you should only play them if you're one of those Sonic fans that just has to have everything with the Blue Hedgehog's face on, and you have to be able to say you've played everything. Some of you might be wondering about Sonic Chaos, because that's a game I mentioned that I'm interested in reviewing at some point. Basically, take this review on Triple Trouble, and every time I said the words Triple Trouble, replace those two words with Chaos, and yeah, those would be my opinions on Sonic Chaos. The games are very, very similar. Now, the next episode is going to move on from a gift that's already been received and something that is getting on a bit age-wise, to something that you may just find under your tree this year.